Dear friends, scientifically, this is not a climate crisis. We are now facing something deeper. Mass extinction, air pollution, undermining ecosystem functions, really putting humanity's future at risk. This is a planetary crisis.
This is a safety crisis, but above all, it is also a justice crisis. Many areas in the world are uninhabitable. This uninhabitable zone is increasing. If we continue with our greenhouse gas emissions, then by 2070, as many as 3 billion people will live in uninhabitable zones.
Yeah, how do you like that? There's no Freemasons in Davos. You're probably wondering why I'm saying that. Some of you won't. What a dog's breakfast. Throwing up the sixes. Saying, no, it's not just climate change. It's much, much worse. It's a planetary crisis. It's a justice crisis. You bet your ass it's a justice crisis. A bunch of non-elected bureaucrats that think they have a right to tell people in every jurisdiction in the world what to do without consulting their government because they already own them. Yeah, it's such low-hanging fruit. I feel guilty even talking about it. But there's no Freemasons that edited that. There's nobody that told these people, you can't say this shit to the public without looking like fucking freaks. And of course they do, and saying it's illegal, misinformation, disinformation, anything that doesn't come from authoritative sources. What authority? What authority? The one that they made up out of thin air, that they just decided? Because they're there, they don't feel that they have to explain anything to anybody. See, the problem is that the Freemasons are the only ones that ever actually earned or learned anything, that understand at least enough about normal human beings to con them, manipulate them, and cast a spell on them. And those people don't seem to be around anymore. I haven't done videos for the last 2 weeks because I've been looking for signs that the Freemasons are still involved, and they're not. I don't see any of their slick productions. I don't see any of their carefully scripted plans and programs that were a hallmark of the last 3 years, and stuff starting to leak out in the alternative media that wasn't available before. And on the mainstream media, they're talking about all the hookers in Davos. You don't think there was hookers in Davos before? These people that are talking about equality for humanity, and 2,700 € a night hookers. Like, those stories never came out before. How come now? Well, because Freemasons seem to have gotten cold feet, seem to have backed out. And I don't know if it's all of them or just some of the factions, but the people that are at the top, that presentation is indicative of the kind of intelligence these people have. They're incapable of even putting together word tracks that make any sense linguistically. It's just childish nonsense. I remember, just to kind of explain the concept to people that don't seem to understand why I'm so sure that globalism as a unit is failing. When I first started making videos, and I was happy when I got over 300 combined views on both channels, I started getting trolls, and I didn't know who these people were. Of course, they were from 77th Brigade. Some of them were Freemasons, but they would gaslight me, and they would try and nitpick and basically just use up my time. But some of the more intelligent ones that I engaged with, they would ask me questions, and it was always the same thing. Like, there's no chance you can win in the first 6 months to a year. I wasn't thinking that the odds were too good, that we were going to win as quickly as we are. But they said, well, there's no way you can win. Why do you continue? Why do you bother? And the veiled threat, like, you're risking everything here. Why would you continue on? Because they didn't get it. They didn't understand that I'm more than happy enough to throw myself in front of the wheels of a meat grinder if I could give a little more bit more time to a bunch of assholes, a bunch of strangers who I wouldn't like if I knew, which is probably why I don't have any friends. But that I would do that because I'm a human being, you know, who cares about other human beings just because I am one and they're one. And they don't get that. They don't understand that. And the reason I'm telling you that is that these Freemasons, I think the reason they're backing out right now is that when you're trying to win, to achieve stuff that you want, you have to risk losing the only thing that you really need in order to get it. Like, they've gone down to the 50-50 proposition, and I think they're backing out. And they're the only thing that gave this whole plan and program, you know, the timetable to tyranny, the last 2 phases. They're supposed to finish that in September. They didn't, and it's not moving forward. It's stalled out. So I think they're starting to pull out, which is good news, because then we'll be able to find out what was in those shots. Because their activities, I mean, all of this can basically be pinned on their shoulders, if for no other reason than none of it could have happened without them. But these globalists, these people at the tippy top, you know, the monarchs, the nobles, the money magic families, the assholes in the corporations, and the top of the institutional religions, they're exposed now. You know, if the Freemasons have really gone, which I think they have, these people have nowhere to hide, and they're too dumb to not beak off. And when they beak off, they look so ridiculous. They're going to wake the sheep up now. But now we have a chance to find out what was in those poisonations, because we need to find that out quickly. You know, it's more important than vengeance. Revenge is. Because there's lots of time for that. But the Freemasons know people are going to vent their anger on these assholes that are standing around parroting a bunch of bullshit that was written by an asshole dumber than them, which is hard to believe after listening to those 2 assholes. But I'll just leave you with that for now. It's very nice to see you again. It's nice to be able to get out to the park while it's still light. I don't have an opportunity to do that much these days. If you're wondering where I've been, I've been watching the wheels turn for the last week and a half or so, looking for some sign that the Freemasons aren't absent, and I haven't seen any signs of it. Conspicuously absent. I don't know if that's going to last, but one can only hope. Nice to see you again. Please have a nice day.